Yo dogs, what is up? It is I, Frizzeel, and it is another Nebulous Racks update. Here we have a blocky storm of death. This is for the new blarticle system, block particles we will say. Hopefully to be used as your punching terrain. Block particles, blarticles will be flying about, and that will be fantastic. In other news, I fixed a number of bugs, a number of issues that are both deep and technical, but have resulted in much better performance. Last video I had mentioned that there was probably an FPS drop due to these flying space bodies. Turns out that is not the case. The FPS drop was actually from a hilarious bug on my part where I forgot to divide a number by 12. So essentially I was doing about 12 times as much work sending some data to the GPU, or sending all voxel data to the GPU, and so that was causing a ridiculous slowdown. And that is no longer the case, and now things run kind of like they used to, but even better. So that is amazing. We will discuss why it's even better than before. So I've kind of done some deep work on the system internals, and what I've done is allowed the voxel engine to have different rendering strategies based on distance. So if we zoom in here, this is a really detailed block. This is what you'll see as you're running around, and if I go way out, eventually it's going to swap to a lower quality. You'll see the light kind of disappear, not to be confused with the lower LOD, but just watch the blocks right in the center of the screen. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, and so that's reduction in quality. That's resulted in a much greatly improved frame rate. And if I zoom out, there's still the LOD system. Currently, with the new ambient occlusion stuff, the LODs at LODs above 0 kind of have weird lighting, and it looks crappy. And that shouldn't be an issue for too long, but I just have to look into a better sampling strategy than I'm currently doing. That would also be fast, ideally fast enough, because it already takes a little bit of time to generate vertex meshes. Not too bad, but a decent amount of time. And so, you know, what I mean by the lighting issues is that they're obviously darker in places where they really shouldn't be. I mean, they should be about the same color as everything around them. So that was one issue that is one issue that needs to be fixed. But in other news, the system is really stable now. Like, I can just fly around and load terrain, and it's not going to crash or anything, and it's not gonna, you know, leak memory at all. You can kind of see all the stats on the top right. But my chunk allocations are going to remain right around 65,000. It's still obviously, you know, it's a good bit of memory, but without the leak, it's much better performance than it was before. It's eating over a decent amount over 8 gigs. So this is the kind, obviously it's a voxel engine, and voxel engines are definitely the kind of application that will eat up your memory. Like, the more memory you have, the better, right? The more memory you have, the directly better your voxel engine experience should be if it's programmed correctly, right? Now, there are some things I need to do in terms of memory usage that are pretty obvious. The first and foremost thing is that I have a lot of chunks loaded in memory that don't need to be loaded in memory. You say, like, what? Well, how are you going to see the chunks? Well, you only need the chunk in memory when you generate the mesh. If you can see at the top right, it's really tiny, but basically, you know, I've got 65,000 chunks in memory, but I actually have 32,000 meshes, and like, the meshes by comparison to the actual chunks take up like several orders of magnitude less memory. So I'm getting 100 megabytes for all the meshes, but I'm getting, you know, almost 10 gigs for the freaking chunks. So clearly, not having as many chunks in memory would be prudent, and you know, that's a matter of both fiddling around with parameters and making sure everything is working as it's supposed to, and, you know, maybe changing the things algorithmically a good bit, but hard to say. So, you know, obviously I could just tweak down the parameter now and see, but I'm just kind of getting everything stable for the video, and I don't want to, you know, everything's in a good state, and everything has trade-offs. So what else? In other news, there is ray tracing. There is a minor bug where it causes a crash. Here's to hoping it doesn't Alright, so I thought I could ray trace without crashing, but apparently not. Let's try one more time. I'm feeling lucky. It doesn't normally crash. I just happen to have miserable luck on video. I want to say it's like a 1 in 5 chance, so here we go. Okay, it worked. Yeah, that's, well, okay, I see. It skipped an entire chunk because it's not loaded. So I'm still working on a bunch of issues like that. Like, you shoot a ray through this chunk, and then it goes all the way down here. But, you know, this chunk right here isn't loaded. And so there's a couple of different approaches to that. The simple approach would be to force load this chunk at the expense of having a lag spike. The other approach is to delay the ray tracing over this block until like you put a request in for the chunk, and later the request is fulfilled, and then at that point you edit the chunk. And so that kind of a thing is kind of hard to do and expensive, but gotta adjust that. I wish I could show you more of the ray tracing, but apparently it's crashing and I didn't realize it. So yeah, awesome. But the ray tracing algorithm is very much generalized and can be used in a number of ways. For example, I could use it, not just to, I press enter, and it's going to be able to detect which block I'm facing at, and also can do things like carve out lines of blocks. In the future, it'll be able to do carve out curves and stuff if I need it to, which could be nice for, for explosion effects and things like that. In a similar vein as Minecraft, basically. So what else is there? Clouds, poofy white clouds. I'd been experimenting with these, and originally I had volumetric clouds, but those are crazy expensive. Basically what it was there's a noise function that the clouds sample, right? You can see the clouds kind of billowing and moving to an extent. But the noise function also took into account the y-axis, going up and down. And I would draw multiple layers of clouds that don't mind the crazy space bodies. Look, we're in alpha, right? We're not even in alpha. This is like pre-R&D, like Zeta or something. I don't even know, man. But ignore the flying space bodies. But anyways, I was drawing like layers of clouds, and it looked really good, but it was expensive as crap. And obviously, you can draw anything and make it look amazing. It's just an issue of drawing it fast enough. So that's not happening just yet. Still, there are tricks you can do. Like, you see the line over in the distance, and there are tricks you can do to kind of increase that and make it look good. Like, you can have a level of detail system for the clouds too. Mainly, I wanted clouds. This is a really hard problem. I wanted clouds that would look good if you were to jump up into them. And that's just a really tricky issue. Even like, in flight simulator games and stuff, it's a hard problem because you're essentially looking at what is the space bodies. Man, just gotta look away. You're basically looking at a system of like fluid dynamics, right? And trying to, you either simulate it or you like emulate it, and you make trade-offs. And it's, I could devote the entirety of the CPU and GPU to the clouds alone, which could be worth it depending on gameplay, but I'm not right now. And ideally, I can make the clouds super cheap and not have to worry about that. So I still got to think of different approaches. I also want to have something of an Aurora Borealis effect that will tie into the plot of the game very nicely, and I will use all the freaking time. But I got to research that. There's not a lot of work done on doing good Aurora Borealis effects, and so that seems like a fun problem to tackle. What else? We talked about the blarticles, right? The block particles. This is 30 by 30 by 30 block particles, all moving and rotating in the air. And that'll be good for when you're punching terrain and stuff. They'll fly around. The LED system we've talked about a good bit, and you can see just how, like, obviously it's not perfect, but compared to before, it's just smooth. Like, I can actually play, right? I can actually fly around and see the terrain loading without any, like, huge issues or world holes. There are some world holes, and what happened there are those chunks got corrupted while I was debugging and the application crashed, and so those world holes still remain. I need to create an application mechanism that will restore those chunks if they're detected to be invalid. That would probably be wise. So if you see a world hole, the only ones I'm aware of thus far, tiles of air that never load, are ones caused from crashing, and I verified that, and I'm pretty sure that's what's going on. God, it looks really cool. Like, if I just, like, fly out here, you see everything loading in, like, a really neat manner. Can you tell I'm stuffy? I'm a little congested. You can probably tell. Alright. I've also been working on music and things, of course. I need to put a song up. Maybe I'll do it tonight. I don't know. I also need to stream some more /mine updating, if you've been keeping up with that. Yeah, I'm almost tempted to just fly around some more because it works so well. Let's see. If I like fly way out here, you can see the terrain like should all reduce in LOD. I don't know if I can get higher than the current green LOD you see here. I think you can. It's probably really freaking slow to render it, but I think you can. I'd probably have to get much further away. I'd probably have to get further than my current view distance. That's another issue that I need to tackle. I basically need to apply view distance differently for chunks that are in a different LOD. Because, you know, if it's like really low granularity, then I don't care if it's really far away and you render it. And I'll have to separate things into different render passes in a way that's intelligent, so I don't, you know, I take advantage of the depth buffer in a way that is, you know, wise and not going to cause horrible precision issues, which I have dealt with before. They're not horrible. They're adjustable. They're easy to adjust, but it just has it involves a lot of Z fighting amongst the blocks. One thing I need to figure out is how to do good anisotropic filtering, anti-aliasing, I should say, because with the block system, it's kind of hard to do it and not have terrible artifacts. But who knows? It's a lot better now that I have LOD. In a way, it's better. So I'll just have to investigate it. Yeah, we talked about ray tracing. We talked about clouds in the sky. We talked about the blarticles. There's a different approach to the blarticles I can take, which would involve doubling their GPU memory and dramatically speed up their CPU expense. And I'm not sure if I want to do that or not. I'll just have to test and figure it out. But it's a pretty easy change to make. It's just a matter of profiling it. And that's the way it really gets with systems like this. It's all about the profiling and the concepts and the abstractions. And that's why I like Java, is because it really enables me to get down to the concepts and abstractions and have a more performant engine than I would have in C++, because doing anything in C++ takes forever. So long live Java. I feel like there's something I'm forgetting. We talked about clouds. I mean, I can talk about plot development. I've been kind of writing the dialogue for the very first encounter between the protagonists, and the whole time I've been, you know, for, gosh, maybe a year now. I don't even know. I've just been jotting down ideas and how I want various races to be, various characters to be, and for things to play out, theme songs, that kind of a thing. And I really need to start posting some more stuff on that. So one thing I could focus on is starting to integrate other planets and stuff. I mean, I do have a system for these things. Collision for the space bodies is a huge problem that needs to be tackled. I mean, it's not like it's a problem in the sense that it's just, you know, another problem of the day. I don't think it's an impossible issue, but I just have to investigate it. Mostly I need to go ahead and do that so I know what trade-offs that's going to involve, because in all likelihood I'm going to have to make some sacrifices to really support that well, and I don't want to too deeply indenture the code into something only to sacrifice it later, if that makes sense. Yeah, Entity System still here. I wonder if it still works after the changes. Yeah, it does, surprisingly. I would expect it to just drop through the terrain, but apparently the chunks here are still loaded. Yeah, so if the mesh is here and the chunk is not here, then it'll just fall through. So I'm pretty happy with it, you know. Whee! Alright. I guess that's it for now. I mean, I've been super busy at work, so I haven't had a ton of time to actually devote to the engine or even hack/mine. Hack/mine has obviously been another huge source of time. It's been eating up my weekends doing the stream. Yeah, I'm thinking the next song. One thing I've been doing with the music that I've been writing lately is trying to be extra sure that the ideas are in fact original. Because a lot of times when you're writing music, what's the way to put it? So when Paul McCartney wrote Yesterday, he originally thought that he like heard the melody somewhere or something, and he was like, "Did I hear this melody somewhere? It sounds like something I've heard before. It's that good." You know, and he would have that experience and not know, and then eventually they'd verify and be like, "Oh, well, it's actually an original song that you just thought up in your sleep or something." It's like, ah. And so, you know, he wrote the song and everything is great. Everything is well. The alternative situation to that is that the song that you have stuck in your head that you thought you wrote is in fact a song that already exists. And so I'm really paranoid about that, especially because I have done that when I was like a lot younger. When I first started writing, I was like, oh no, the song, it's already been written, God. So it's something you have to be very careful about. Yeah, and so I was going to post basically the theme songs for the protagonists, and I wanted a song sung by the spaceship that was going to be good and very GLaDOS style almost. Not to directly mimic GLaDOS, but it's a robot that sings, okay? It's a robot that sings. Yeah, I think I'm about out of content for this update. But thank you for watching. If you want to support me, if you want to support Nebulous Racks or anything that I'm doing, please like or subscribe. I would appreciate that. Also, if you just want to keep up, then obviously subscribing is a way that you can keep up with the project. So please do that if you're at all interested. You can also keep up with Hack/Mine updates. I probably need to be... I'm trying to figure out what the best way to do that is, because I have Hack/Mine, and then I have Nebulous Racks, and then I have Spellscript. I need to keep the, if you subscribe for Nebulous Racks, I wouldn't want to bombard you with Hack/Mine updates. But that might not be as much of an issue anymore, because Hack/Mine updates are currently on Twitch. You can follow me on at twitch.tv/frizzle, Frizzil. And that is where I will be doing Hack/Mine updates. You can also keep track of updates on the Minecraft forums with the Hack/Mine thread. If you type in like Hack/Mine, it's like the first forum thread to pop up. And that's where I generally post updates on things for now. I need to get a website up. I need to get several things up, etc. I need infinite time is what I need. I need all the time in the universe. That would be amazing. That would be fantastic. Yeah, I need to work on collision for the space bodies and stuff. And what is other direction I need to take with the voxel engine now that I'm thinking about it? I need to work on collision. I need to work on honestly, I could start getting into gameplay mechanics at this point. Like, have, instead of a flying camera, a character that can run and jump around and do stuff. Why not? I need to work on gravity for these things, because I want, if you're going to have planets orbiting around, then you want to be able to hop between them and stuff. Yeah, I think I've about exhausted content. Thank you for watching. Again, like or subscribe. Bye! Bye! Bye!